What if I told you that the education system we all grew up accustomed of trusting and coming to love and know was a lie? That we've been being manipulated this entire time? You might say, well, of course, everyone knows that. Well, today, we're diving deep into the rabbit hole of where it all began and how to take control of your future, regardless of what school may have taught you. Let's get into it. Early in the 1900s, you might have heard of the names Rockefeller, Carnegie, and J.P. Morgan were hidden influencers in the common school movement. It's commonly referred to as the U.S. education system. And Horace Mann, the developer of this system, was primed as the creator. But it's known to us now that there was large influence from these wealthy millionaires who would today be billionaires that had a large effect. And it's been said that the school system has been created as a factory model, is what it's commonly referred to as, which essentially makes us all worker bees in a much larger hive. And the queens are, of course, those who created it. It's been referred to, John Taylor Gatto referred to creating docile subjects in a factory model, which is essentially, we are the workers, and they're, of course, the queen bees or the people at the top that run this factory. And the question is then to be begged, were we created or trained to think, or are we trained to do what our master or queen bee tells us to do? We should dive into what's being taught today. I don't want to get too political, but it should be argued whether K through 12 students are truly learning what we all come to know and learn growing up. And if that's continuing at a pace in which we can understand what's being taught to our children, and even us young people, how to take what we've learned and transform it into a career and a life that's worth living. We should talk about college. The student debt crisis is one of the big things that pointed me toward this video and why I'm creating it today. In 22 to 23, bachelor's degrees graduation fell by 2.8% and associates fell by about 8%. And all of the statistics and references will be in the link in the description of this video, so please reference those. Population progression destines a lowering school age population. And some of this can be pointed toward COVID and the pandemic, in which, of course, people were less in school and some people were switching to home schools or alternative forms of education. But since we've recovered from the pandemic, numbers haven't exactly climbed to where they normally would. And in fact, many people are avoiding college and avoiding school and being raised in Christian schools or homeschooling or online schooling. And we should dig into this. Why is it that the U.S. education system is a failing model? We're, of course, living in an economy which is littered with AI. And we don't know what the future of AI is going to look like. We don't know whether it's going to replace our jobs. We don't know if it's going to create more. And we don't know how we should approach careers moving forward. Or do we? You see, the most influence you can have as a simple decision over a career is going into one that AI in theory could not replace. Now, we don't know if that's any career. And I think we should understand and come to know what are the careers that are most invulnerable to AI. Which ones can we build a career in before it becomes replaced? And I think I should point to a couple skills that we should all come to master and learn a little bit more so that we can come to better ourselves in this digital marketplace. So let's start with your options: college, trades, entrepreneurship, creativity or media, or going directly into the working market. Well, for starters, college, as I've pointed out, is not your best option. Some studies have pointed out that over time, professors have needed more and more education to have a successful career in the education system. And most professors today have doctoral degrees. And so you might say, well, the educators keep getting smarter. So why do our kids keep getting dumber, especially when stacked up against other countries around the world? And it's hard to compare ourselves to Communist Party China and some of the other more different political systems. But I'll have links to those in the description, and I'll pop up a comparison now so you can further understand what I mean. School is not working here in America. And so some people move to trades. Why are trades most invulnerable? Well, when AI was first coming out, when ChatGPT became popular in 2021 or so, most people thought that the first jobs that were going to get replaced were labor jobs. We thought that there were going to be robots that were replacing the pipes under people's sinks, that we were going to have robots doing the wiring in people's houses. Well, that's not entirely the case, as of course, I'm sure we've all come to know. It's replacing all of the jobs that people found most appetizing at first. It's replacing media jobs. It's all you see on YouTube anymore. So what we can do now is understand that we're going into an authenticity economy. The more authentic you can be, the more attention and drive and motivation you're going to attract. And so what we really need to do is see which jobs are most invulnerable to AI in trades right now. And most of the degrees that people are getting in college are not. We might have AI professors. We might have AI psychologists. We might have AI teachers. We have AI in media. We have AI in journalism. So we need to avoid these at all costs unless we're sure that we can be authentic and unique. And so that's something that AI is just not capable of doing yet. Creative jobs such as YouTube videos or journalism or TikTok, Instagram, a lot of these things are being replaced by AI-generated content. And that's a really hard thing for us to get past. We have to understand how to create things that AI cannot create yet, and how to speak and articulate our thoughts to people to inspire and drive and motivate them and teach them, which is something that AI is just not capable of doing, and it never will be, because it's not authentic in the sense that, humans' communication is. Now that we have our options, let's talk about some skills we can develop regardless of which option we choose. And I want to start with that, authenticity. How can we build our authenticity? Well, for starters, be authentic. Be the kind of person that can speak to people, that can inspire people, and that you're coming from a true place. Don't manipulate. Don't push people around. Be you. If you're a salesperson, sell a product that you believe in and that you know is helping. If you're an electrician, fix people's houses as fast as you can and maybe they'll tip you. If you're a waitress, be on your game, be on your ball game. Get the drinks to people as fast as possible. Don't draw it out. And then you might get a bigger tip. People like authenticity. And so that is the number one skill that we can develop regardless of which of these career paths we choose. Trades, college, entrepreneurship, creative, and going directly into the workforce. It's going to be huge for us. The number one thing with AI, which is something I've touched on a lot, but is adaptability. We need to be able to adapt in a marketplace which is constantly evolving and is growing faster than we could possibly imagine. We don't know where AI is going to be in 1 year or 5 or 10. So if we can build ourselves to adapt to this economy and to adapt to these changes, our careers become that much more secure. And so my simple advice would be to learn about AI. Learn how you can apply it to your job now. Learn how it will affect the small things that you do. Maybe you can use it to write a workout plan. Maybe you can use it to collect and sort data for a side business. Just understand the concept, understand its limitations, understand what it's good at. So look at the different models. What are the things that we can directly do to get better at these things and further choose a career that takes us away from what the US education system taught us to do and build toward what is best for young people in this economy? Well, let's start with networking. No matter where you are, no matter what job you have, no matter how old you are, building connections with people is becoming more valuable than ever. It might not be long before we have AI babysitters, AI girlfriends. And I think now more than ever, human connection is more valuable. Have you gone up to an old person in, say, a supermarket and said hi to them? And usually they like to talk, so they might say hi back. And then they just initiate a conversation and you entertain it. That old person will walk or drive one of those little roller things away with more appreciation for humans and young people than they've ever had. Most of the time, old people are seeing young people walk across the streets on their cell phones. On the bus, they're on their phones. In the library, they're on their laptops. We don't get as much human interaction as we used to. And so networking is more valuable than it has ever been. We've been deprived of our social ability through social media and video games and porn and things of this. So what we really need to do is understand why these things are being pushed toward us and maybe say, well, if that's what the crowd is doing, maybe we should act a little bit differently. And so we should build connections with people, not just because we want something from them, not just because they might help our career or be someone that we can call when we need something. No, we should do that because human connection is valuable. And you never know what a 5-minute conversation with someone might teach you. Network as much as you can. Now, I want to include 2 things in this next point, which is the importance of reading and self-education. And those 2 might kind of sound like the same thing. So reading in the sense that I know a lot of people that only read self-help and nonfiction books. And I don't think that's the best advice. I've done that a long time myself. And I don't think that's the best advice. I think understanding how stories get played, understanding how comedic timing comes out is really important for us. And we should be able to tell stories to the people that we network with about what our lives are really like, about what creativity is really like. And so yes, I recommend that you pick up a couple self-help books. Maybe you pick up the Bible. Maybe you pick up the Quran. Maybe you pick up a religious text. Maybe you explore. But the thing is about only watching media is that you're getting brainwashed and you're never getting the full story. Even what I'm telling you now is only half of the picture. There might be another video that me can make with different opinions, another version that can make it different opinions, someone else can make with different opinions, and it would be an entirely different video. And so that's what I think is really important. Reading as an art has become more important now than ever. Many of your peers, no matter how old you are, do not read anymore. And whether that be stories, novels, religious texts, self-help books, nonfiction books, fiction, it doesn't matter. Put your eyes on a book from time to time. And it's hard to with these phones we have in our pockets at all times. It becomes hard to put our attention into something else. And I would say the first step into wanting to read more is by having a desire to learn, which we all have, and setting your phone down for a few minutes and just picking up the book. Read a page. Read a page a day. And you might come to know that the text that you read stays in your mind much more proficiently than watching something on a phone does. Self-learning is a little bit different. Self-learning is the idea that we can escape what the education system has taught us as a foundation of learning and critically think about what matters most in our lives. And so self-learning can be a multitude of things. It could be buying a course online. It could be finding a mentor. It could be finding a church. It could be going out of your way in any form to increase your knowledge and your wisdom. And I think that may be the most foundational piece of big change in your life, is a lifelong desire of self-learning. Next, and finally, maybe the one that young people lack the most, the skill that we refer to as being able to critically think. You see, critical thinking is something that a long time ago was extremely important for humans to have. It was extremely important for us to make decisions for our survival. It was important to know what times to go hunt so that we didn't get eaten by bears and wolves. It was important to understand the ways that we made clothing. It was very important to build boats and understand how to build boats. It was very important to build a culture and family of people, a village that was conducive to everyone's life. And if you're going to remember anything, remember this: lifelong learning will always be more important than any kind of school or education that you formally receive. It will stick with you for a lifetime, and you will own it forever. Your path is yours. Take accountability. Remember that the system was not designed for today. It's not your fault, it's not theirs. It's about how we move forward. If you're going to remember anything, remember this: lifelong learning will always be more important than any kind of formal education that you receive, whether it be school, trades, med school, law school, the works. What you choose to learn and what you go out of your way to learn, whether it be books or courses or wisdom through church or religion, that is what will stick with you forever. Late 2023, 43 million Americans held a student loan. We have a student loan problem in this country, and that is because we have a college and education system problem in this country. Lifelong learning should be your goal. School was not designed for today. Formal education is no longer as valuable as it used to be. You must own your education. Your path is yours, and that is how you escape the education system.